Today I'm going to demonstrate for you a high frequency facial. We are going to go through the topicals that are good to use and kind of the movements that I use when I do a high frequency facial. I'm also going to give you a couple tips and tricks to make this machine work a little bit better, and also kind of a little bit of a hack on how you can do this at home more easily. Today's facial is going to be kind of a follow-up to a video that I did a year and a half ago. In that video that I am going to link in the description box, I go through everything about high frequency. If you're not familiar, this is what a high frequency device looks like. They do come in, different colors, and you'll see them look a little bit different, but this is essentially what it looks like. They come with probes. And I'm going to show you why I've done this in this video. But these different probes are all filled with either argon or neon gas. Then there is an electric current that is put through those probes that creates an ozone at the end of each and every one of these probes. That ozone then creates an environment in your skin, not on top of the skin, but in your skin, that is antibacterial. It is also anti-inflammatory. It's wound healing, and it promotes circulation. It can inadvertently help with collagen and elastin production, and it is fantastic if you happen to have acne. So this is just a great tool to have. It is especially good because it's one of those tools that I find is very versatile in a family. So you could be using this for your anti-aging, but it could be really great for a teenager to use for acne. It's a non-chemical way to treat inflammation and to treat bacteria and kind of help clear acne. It's really, really great tool. This one that I have actually comes in a kit, and it comes with several different probes that are great for your hair, for your body. There's one for the submental, there's one for more acute acne lesions, and then there is the overall tips that are good for a full facial. If you are new here, my name is Penny. I am a master esthetician in Portland, Oregon, and I am so excited to be sharing this with you because this is one of those very, very basic tools that has been around in aesthetics for decades. It's one of the first modalities that I purchased to have in my treatment room because while it is relatively basic, it is really, really effective. Okay, so let's roll the facial. I started off, of course, by washing my face. Now you can, like we've done in the last couple of facials, you can use the Touch Glycolic 10% Glycolic face wash if you've purchased this on my recommendation. I love this one. Or you could also use Vanicream. These are two that I am loving right now. This one I would say would be more if you are normal to combo oily. This one would be great if you are pretty much all skin types. You could use this one. But if you wanted to get a little bit of an acid wash in, this one is fantastic. I am a dry skin person. I still really like this one pre-treatment. I think it preps the skin really well, but it's not one that I would use every single day if I'm not doing a facial treatment because of my dry skin, just an FYI. So as soon as I'm done doing my cleanse, my skin is dry and it's clean now. Now what I want to do before I do the high frequency facial is I need to stack all of my serums. So it's kind of a flip-flop way of doing a facial. So the first thing that I'm going to use is I'm going to use a growth factor serum. I'm going to use the one from Brad-Ceuticals. It's the one that I've been using a lot lately. I'm getting through this bottle. If you've purchased this one and you own it, this one is fantastic. The reason why you're going to want to use a growth factor, whether you have acne or if you're doing this for anti-aging, is because it's wound healing. Wound healing properties in a skincare item is going to help you with acne, and it's also going to help you with collagen and elastin production. So Brad-Ceuticals is first, and I'm just going to press it in. I'm relatively generous, and I get it all the way up by my eyes, you guys, and down my neck, because I'm going to work my neck and I'm going to work under my eyes for lymphatic drainage. So you just want to get everywhere. Then I'm actually going to use a relative new find. This was actually a recommendation from one of you guys. This is the Dr. Galatok, I'm probably mispronouncing that, galactoside. It's galactomyces. This is a galactomyces serum that has natural moisturizing factors, and it also has things like sodium PCA, allantoin, it has licorice in it, has a ton of great ingredients I'm going to put up on the screen. Really fantastic if you have a compromised barrier. This time of year, we just had a serious snow and ice storm. My barrier function is not perfect because I can tell that my skin is a little bit dry, a little bit dull. So what I'm trying to do is reinforce my barrier. I'm trying to get my water retention back so that my skin can be a little bit more vibrant, and the high frequency is going to help to drive these things in. So this will be the second serum. I'm going to put 2 full dropperfuls. I had another galactomyces that I used to love from Cause de Baja, and it was much thicker than this. This one is a lot more cosmetically elegant. It's a little bit thinner of a serum, and I like that because it's great for using during the day. A really great serum, not just for a treatment, but for daily use, especially during the winter or any time when you notice that your barrier is compromised. And then the last serum that I'm going to use is going to be my Queen 7-in-1, which is a pigment inhibitor I've talked about endlessly, and I love this one. Again, I'm going to be relatively generous. I want my skin saturated with these serums. The high frequency is going to push all of this in to my skin via that current, and the ozone. It's going to help with all of that. Okay, so now I have all of my serums on. I have my device, and I'm going to choose an electrode. The electrodes that I like the best to start this treatment are going to be your mushroom head, and I'm going to show you exactly what I've done to it. And also, I really do like the spoon, which is this guy. And I'm going to show you why I have them the way that I have them. And then finally, if you have acne, you will like this guy, which is a pencil applicator, and it's made to deliver a more concentrated dose of the energy into kind of like a pimple, you know, a more specific spot. And it can really help to take down an active acne lesion that is, you know, inflammatory. And then the last piece that I think is fantastic is the comb. I talked about this in my hair loss video. I love this piece. It is fantastic. This is great for men. It's great for women. Just helps to encourage circulation to the scalp, which can help with, you know, follicle quality and hair loss and overall hair quality. It's a wonderful piece that is separate of, you know, facial skincare. Okay, so I'm going to put the mushroom probe on. Now, the reason why I have that covered in gauze is because I want it to have a little bit of slip, which the gauze will provide for me, but I also want to be able to basically have this gently against my skin. And the gauze actually creates a gap between the probe and my skin. You need a tiny bit of a gap in order to get a little bit of treatment. Now, if I didn't have that on, I could use just the bare probe with an oil on my skin, like an argan or a squalane. I could do that and do a direct treatment, but I definitely prefer to have a gauze on the applicator. It's hygienic and it creates that spark gap. You will hear me refer to a spark gap many times, and all that is the gap between the electrode and your skin, and it should never be more than 1/4 of an inch. The spark will actually reach out for your skin, so if you're too far away from your skin, you can actually cause the spark to be too strong and it can damage the tissue. So it's better to keep this relatively close to your skin, maybe just a touch off of your skin. I'm talking like 1 millimeter at the most. And the gauze actually is providing another bit, maybe 1 millimeter of a gap. That's the perfect amount of gap. So you almost can just be gently touching your skin and you can feel confident that you are getting a good treatment and you're not harming your tissue. That's what the gauze does. What I have done is I have actually taken a 2x2. So I like to take the kind that say that they're silk. And usually it's a combination of fibers, but I like silk because it doesn't absorb the product that I put on my skin. It doesn't leave lint and it doesn't absorb the product. So it just helps with the glide and it helps with that spark gap. So I take a 2x2 and I simply spread it open until it is a 4x4 and it's thin, obviously. You can kind of see through it, right? Then I will take it and I'll just grab it in, we'll do it over this one. I put it over the top of the probe and I twist so that it's kind of securely on there, right? And then I simply take a rubber band and I affix it to the probe. The rubber bands that I actually use are from my son's braces kits. I'll see if I can find these online because they're actually perfect for this particular application. And you can, of course, use them over and over. Like you can see, use the same rubber band many, many times. So you simply just use that rubber band and then it's on your probe, okay? This alleviates the need to use a face mask of gauze. You may see those with some of these kits, and they are fantastic if you're an esthetician and you're in the treatment room. You can lay them over your client, and then you have a bare probe that you have sanitized, and you can just work over that mask. But if you're at home and you're sitting upright, which you likely are, then putting a gauze mask on your face doesn't really work. It just wants to fall down. So this kind of alleviates that problem. You get the gap, you get the gauze, you get the slip, but you don't have the, trouble with the gauze falling down. Okay, so I'm going to use this one first. You turn your device on, you're going to hear it, okay? And if you touch it, you can feel a little zap. I like to put it right about in the middle. You do not need it all the way up on high. It's just not necessary. I'm going to start at the neck and I'm going to work up. You always want to have a finger on before you press it to your skin. Move down your neck this way. And as I come back up, it comes off my skin just a touch when I come back up. And then it's barely on my skin. I mean, just feather light coming down, okay? Now, when I move to the face, I'm simply gonna put my finger on it and I'm gonna move to my face, and I always start at the middle part of my face and I move to the outer part, kind of out here, right? I'm trying to just move stuff away. This is how I do it. You can actually just move it around your skin all you want, but I'm trying to get a little bit of lymphatic drainage in there as well. So I keep my finger on it and I touch it to my face. I remove my finger and I'm just gently pushing out here. Then I lift a little. I'm gently pushing and I lift a little. And when I lift a little, I'm no more than, I am not even 1/8 of an inch off the skin. But when I'm on the skin, gently pushing away is when I'm gently trying to encourage lymph. And when I'm coming back, I'm just getting a little bit of that frequency and that ozone into my skin. So I'm going to keep pushing towards here. You will smell the ozone, and that has to do with the ionization of the oxygen that's around the probe. It helps to kill bacteria, it helps to encourage circulation. It's able to get into your skin and do some of that. That's why it's so good for anti-aging, because circulation is bringing nutrition to your skin, helping to indirectly, boost collagen and elastin production, but also circulation to your skin can just help with vitality. It can really help. But this, for me, often is about depuffing and kind of radiance for me is how I feel. I go over an area for maybe 2 minutes. This total 4x4 area of my, lower eye all the way to my jaw. Don't want to spend more than, I would say, 4 minutes on an area. You don't need more than that ever. So once you've done that, finger on, and I'm going to move to my forehead. I do one side first, and it's the same thing. I'm just going to move out, gently touching my skin there, then lifting off, and then gently touching my skin there. I love to go over the eyebrow area, gently lift, but then gently touch your skin and push out. It feels good, and you can kind of feel that lymph moving. Sometimes you can feel it drain down your throat, which is crazy. So you keep doing this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to repeat the other side. Sometimes when you get up higher, you'll feel that current a little bit. If you feel like it gets a little bit too zippy, turn it down. It doesn't need to be really zippy. It is a little zippy, but it doesn't need to hurt or sting. Okay, so once I've completed that, and I've done that for probably this whole part on one side would take me 6 or 7 minutes total. Then I'm going to move and I would of course do the other side exactly the same. When you're done with the high frequency, you can add some hydration. So for me today, I'm going to add my Hada Labo. It's the same one I've been using. I will link this one and I will reiterate that this comes in a few different versions. And I try to always link the one that does not have mineral oil and that does not have parabens for those of you who are concerned with parabens. And mineral oil, in my opinion, is not a terrible thing for your body skin if you're trying to occlude and trap moisture, but it's not my favorite thing to use on the face. I do have a couple makeups that I own that have mineral oil and I'm totally okay with them, but as a rule, I like to leave it off my face. Okay, so we're pretending that I did this side, okay? Because you would do that side. So you get your moisture on and then you're gonna follow up with, of course, a sunscreen. It is the most simple facial to do, you guys. So to recap, I really want to encourage you to watch my first high frequency video. It has all kinds of fantastic information. The one change that I've made is that since I made that video, I have talked to so many people who have expressed that the 3-prong plug is not as important at home as it is in office. My in-office device is this great big machine that required 3 prongs. And it would appear that the at-home devices are fine with the 2-prong plug, but I encourage you to do your own research on that because I was in search of 3-prong plugs only, just to kind of have an extra grounding sort of backup. But so many of you have told me that that's not necessarily, there is no shock factor and they are fine with 2 prongs. Please do your own research on that one. So the last thing that I'm going to do, of course, is I'm going to do a sunscreen, and I am still using my CeraVe. This is the SPF 30 tinted, and the reason why I'm liking this one is because it is all mineral, so it's going to help with the UVA and the UVB, but it also has iron oxides. That's partially what's giving it its tint. Iron oxides are going to be really, really helpful for those of us who have pigment issues, because the iron oxides help to protect us from visible light. Visible light can contribute to hyperpigmentation. So just think, if you can see your sunscreen, as in it's tinted, and it has iron oxides, the likelihood is your sunscreen can see that visible light and block it. So that's how I look at iron oxides. Iron oxides and tinted sunscreens are great for hyperpigmentation. Okay, so I'll finish up and put some makeup on and I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today for this quick tutorial on how to use a high frequency device. Hopefully, after watching this video, you will check out my original video, get a little bit more of the science behind high frequency, but more than anything, I hope that if you've purchased one of these, that you will pull it out and actually use it, because it is a wonderful modality for circulation, vibrancy, and certainly if you ever or anyone in your family ever experiences acne. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week, and I will talk to you in my next skincare video. Take care.